Welcome to CruiseCast, the podcast all about cruising with an emphasis on travel. I'm your host and travel agent for MBI and Mouse Fan Travel, Kaylee. This is my husband and co-host, James.
Hello, everybody.
And this is Jason from PopularCruising.com.
Ahoy, mateys, and I'm also here with the Popular Cruising Video Podcast and PopularCruising.com. Welcome.
Yes, today we have a lot of stuff going on because we are live on the CruiseCast cruise. Woo! Family on the We are live on the CruiseCast cruise, a live recording, so I don't know how live that is, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that we are out actually face-to-face with all the hosts. We got the first time we've been recording live with Jason, and then we have my some first-time cruisers here, my sister and her husband. Say hi. Hi.
Hello.
And we have Jason's parents, who've been on the podcast before, Mark and Darlene.
Hi there. And this is their first time on Carnival.
Yes. So it's also CruiseCast's 100th episode.
Long time ago.
Yes. Even though they've been a little sparse lately, we finally hit 100 with all of our episodes, and so we are excited to be doing that on the CruiseCast cruise. So today we're going to cover a couple of different things. We're going to talk a little bit about family cruising because we are all here cruising with our family in one format or another. And we're going to talk about first impressions of Carnival, and not only Carnival, but first impressions of cruising, because Kristen and Corey have never cruised before, so their first cruise on Carnival. So let's first hit up the first-time cruiser aspect of it. And I want to find out from them, Kristen and Corey, whichever one of you wants to take this first, is there anything about cruising that you expected that has turned out to be different from what you thought?
I was expecting more of a crowded atmosphere, but there's been a lot more room to move around the ship than I was expecting, and you know, a lot more places to sit, and I never have to look for you know, a place to you know, plant myself, and you know, so that was unexpected.
Kristen?
I actually expected there to be a lower quality of food, and I found that the food choices, wherever they are, have all been higher than my expectations were. So the food is a lot better than I thought it would be.
That's good. Is there anything that's been worse than you thought it would be?
I thought it'd be colder in my room. I was expecting like a hotel. You know, when you go to a hotel and you can freeze out and stuff. But I adjusted it, you know.
Kristen?
I thought that there would be more things going on throughout the day, maybe. It seems like at night there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of different bands and things. But during the day, unless you want to do trivia or play games or swim, that's about all you got.
You don't want to do trivia? No, there has really been trivia overload, I would say, on this cruise ship.
Yeah, it's even put me to the test.
Yeah. On sea days, there's been what, like 4 or 5 trivia?
God, it feels like there's like 7 or 8. They just go for like 3 hours straight.
It doesn't help that we're winning every single one.
We have ships on a stick.
We have several ships.
You can
clarify that.
Yeah. We're getting booed.
Yeah,
Except when we leave.
It's getting embarrassing.
People are actively rooting against us.
Yeah.
All right, switching gears a little bit. Darlene and Mark, this is your first, even though how many times have you cruised before?
Just a tad under 60.
Okay, so 60 cruises, and this is your first real full Carnival cruise.
Kind of doing it in reverse, really, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'll let Darlene.
A whole lot better than I thought. I mean, just fantastic. Nothing to complain about at all. We've had a great time, a lot to do. Food's been great. You know, accommodations, the room sizes are very, very comfortable.
Well, just to step back for a moment, why don't you say that you were probably holdouts and thinking that Carnival, the stereotypes would be true?
Yes.
And coming on board, the expectations have been exceeded?
Absolutely no. None of my stereotypes came to be. I mean, just a
Correct.
fantastic experience.
Okay, so what are some of the stereotypes that we've heard about Carnival before coming?
More of a booze cruise.
Okay,
Yeah.
I would think.
booze cruise, maybe low quality food,
Yes.
just comfort food, not anything high
It's been
end.
phenomenal.
Tons of people everywhere.
Yep.
And that has not, and again, like Corey said, it's, you don't have a lot of people in one venue at any one time. You have plenty of space. You don't feel like you're on with, you know, hundreds of other people at all.
Yeah, the space ratio's been phenomenal.
Yeah. Even though this is one of the ships that has a lower space ratio, I believe, for Carnival. And we have a lot of third and fourth berths filled because this is, you know, Memorial Day cruise. There's a lot of kids and stuff.
Sure.
But Only a few places have I found it to be like really crazy crowded. I know in the pool today I went by and they're like, all you could see was a sea of heads bobbing up and down.
People.
Yeah.
Well, in my case, since I came from the Carnival Miracle before this, that actually had 3 pools on the upper deck. This one has 2, so I found that to be kind of surprising.
Now the Miracle, it doesn't have extensive water slides, right?
No, it doesn't.
So that might be something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, more spacious for the waterworks on board.
What else has surprised you about Carnival?
The entertainment has been great. The evening entertainment, the shows, top notch.
Yeah. Especially that last one with the acrobatics. And
yeah.
They had like a trampoline kind of effect on board. That was pretty cool. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason, after going on just the Miracle, now going up to a larger class of ship, Carnival's arguably their best. What do you think?
No, I think it's cool. I mean, you definitely have more choice as far as food on here, slightly more entertainment. Definitely a highlight for me was the Punchliner Comedy Club on the Miracle, and that's carried over on board here. Love that. The burrito bar for food is really, I can't say enough about that thing. And then James has gotten me hooked on the
dessert
Black
counter.
Forest
All of
cake
us.
at the dessert counter.
And Jason has to explain your thoughts on the pizza.
The pizza. Oh yeah, well, pizza's a big deal on board, and we're probably going to do a pizza episode. I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
But pizza on board is very good. You can have it made to order if you'd like. They have the Parmesan, arugula, the ham one that I really like. That's tasty. So always good pizza. Yeah, handmade.
Okay, let's get a little over to the family cruising aspect. James and I, have actually never cruised with anyone that we knew before. We always meet people on
Before
the
the
ship.
cruise.
Yeah, before this cruise. And we meet people on the ship, we get to know them, and we have fun. But coming on with family, it's been a little bit different. James, what do you think?
The in-laws are right next to you.
On
Be
the
careful.
spot.
I didn't expect that question. It definitely is a change. Usually for the better, but not always for the better. But it definitely changes the dynamic of what you're doing. Because usually, I get up in the morning, I have a couple of drinks, I play trivia, and I do things like that pretty much throughout the day. And then there's more people with voices on what the party wants to do. So I'm used to I have to put up with a few things you want to do that I don't really care to do, and I'm sure you put up with a few things I want to do that you don't really want to do. But it's pretty easy when you have more people. It's a little different. So you're trying to please more people. It's not that it's worse. You definitely have more inputs and more things, more people to talk to, which is good. But it's definitely different because usually the people we meet are gung ho about trivia.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Corey and Kristen are. But then also, we obviously knew Mark and Darlene and Jason to some degree. And definitely through the podcast, we've known them for a while, so there's more people that we know that I've not met anybody else beyond them, the people that we already knew, though. That's a definite difference.
We've met a couple.
Not better, not people that you like.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no one you're contacting after this group that you want.
I can say for me, I was so worried because anytime you're asking somebody to come along with you on a vacation that they've never tried out before, you're kind of asking them to take a little bit of faith in you and to take a little bit of a risk. And so my whole thing on this cruise is I've been less concerned with what I want to do and more concerned with making sure they have a good time. Like, okay, if they're getting upset, okay, how can we make
That's
sure they're having a good
that's what
time?
I was saying. It's probably explained better.
And it's not that I don't feel bad about that. I just really want them to have a good time because I want to do this again.
You're wearing your travel agent hat.
I am. I'm definitely wearing my travel agent hat. And we have other cruisers from the listeners from the podcast that are on the ship as well. And every time I see them, I get really concerned. Okay, they took this cruise for us, so are they having a good time? So I've been more concerned with other people's. And James, when we normally cruise together, if I'm going to do something, I just do it, whatever.
About what I'm going to do. Like, this is what I'm doing. All right.
And the three of you have cruised together since Jason was a baby.
Yeah.
How does that change the dynamic?
Well, this time we got separate rooms, which was convenient, I guess. At my size now, it helps to kind of be a little bit more on my own.
Yeah, it's a little easier when it's smaller.
Yeah, exactly.
A third in a room.
Yeah, but I would still enjoy our time together, and it's always a great family time to kind of just enjoy and see the world together.
It is. It's time to just come together as a
Good
family.
job.
And in case you were wondering, based on my shirt and vibrancy, we are on the Caribbean.
Yeah. I think that, well, let's turn it over to Kristen and Corey. Would you have ever chosen to do a cruise on your own without being pushed by us?
No. No, I don't.
I don't agree with that. I think we would have. I think we would have eventually, shown interest in doing something like this. I think so.
I think because we've listened, or I've listened to the podcast so much, I was interested in it. But I don't know if we would have taken the leap on our own to just go do a cruise, just the two of us. I think it's helped us a lot having y'all along, because we can ask you, hey, what time does this happen, or where is this located? It kind of helped with that first day of wandering around lost on the ship. We didn't have that because we had people that knew this ship basically and knew what we would be interested in to help us.
With that in mind, and the fact that the penetration is about 12 to 13% in the market, most people have actually been on a cruise in America. What do you think it would take? What do you think the cruise lines could do more of to draw people like you to come aboard?
I would think, I know I watch a lot of travel shows and stuff, but there's not a whole lot on cruising. I've seen all the ones on cruising.
Yeah.
So I think if there was more of that, because I know the ones that I've seen, it's always really interesting, and it's like, wow, that looks really nice.
Okay.
So I would think more of those types of things, travel shows and how it works.
Interesting.
I think a lot of people don't understand what there really is on the ships, what there really is to do.
There's a lot of misconceptions.
Right, yeah.
And I know we've probably all watched the Oasis of the Seas show on the Travel Channel or whatever, like a million times. And if you've ever seen that one, all they do is show the boarding process.
Embarkation.
Right.
Yeah, embarkation. They don't actually show the ship.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Four different
you don't
processes.
get a feel for what cruising's really like.
I think one of the huge still misconceptions is the cost. Because, if I know with Corey was saying that they're used to paying each day, and when you're paying a huge amount up front, people think, oh, this is devastating, until you realize it's your food, it's your entertainment, it's your hotel, your transportation. And if you really broke it out by number of days, how much for every day, you'd be surprised just how inexpensive it is and what a great bargain it is.
Yeah, we calculated this morning, and we actually calculated how much we've spent on our excursions and on board, and we decided that we've spent less this week than we would have spent at home
Right.
by buying groceries and eating out
Eating
and
out,
gas.
yeah, right.
We've spent less this week
That's
on
an
that.
excellent point.
Wow. That's good.
Yeah.
And considering the brunch we had this morning, wow.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, you figure what your utility bill could be at home.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize, they just see that sticker shock, that number up front, and it's like, ooh, gotta come up with, however much, $700 average for, week long.
But in a way, it's no different than you go to a hotel on land. You're going to get that same kind of bill. Rather, up front, you're getting it at the end.
Right.
So
Right.
it is still lump sum. So.
Yeah, and then, it's already been paid for,
Right.
so.
Yeah.
And your meals are usually, that's included, where a lot of times your hotels, you're paying that separately from the hotel, so.
I think another thing too is that you wouldn't have an appetizer or two. You might have,
Yeah.
the
cost,
yeah. Okay, this comes with soup and salad. That's great. I'm not having the main course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you're not eating dessert.
Right. Right.
Because the dessert's going to set you back. But
Right.
here,
Right.
you're going to have the dessert, or 2 desserts if you want.
And I think too
Wow.
is that your beverages are on par, if not a little less, here on the ship than you would have at an Atlantic side resort.
Yeah, they're definitely equitable, I would think.
Yeah.
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 Well, you guys have been going to the all-inclusive resorts while we've been on board. How do those compare with what you'd say on the cruise?
Well, it's all inclusive, so
Yeah. So yeah, the drinks.
which the cruise lines are going that direction
Right.
too. So it's nice. It's free.
Mhm.
Like it's kind of like the food on the cruise.
Yeah.
Taking that to almost everything.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
And I have to say on Carnival, their laundry is a really good deal.
Oh, it's wonderful.
$15 a bag.
the
versus-
self laundry.
Yeah.
No, the
No,
they send it out. It's
it's
15
Okay.
bucks. Yeah.
It's,
$15, fill a bag no matter what.
Paid up
That's
for
not
40
bad
a
at
bag,
all.
so
Does-
it's really a good deal.
Does anybody else have the self laundry like Carnival does?
I
The-
think
some of the other ones do.
Disney
Disney
does.
does.
Disney does. Okay.
Yeah,
Some lines don't have
All
that at all.
America does too.
Yeah, Home of America.
Yeah.
And they have places to iron on board here. I don't know if they have laundry facilities.
On here, they do.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah.
So do we think there's any drawbacks to cruising with family? I know that's since we're all family.
Well.
Jason just blushed.
I think-
I want to know if there is something. Tell me.
I think it would really depend on your family.
Yeah.
Like who
Yeah.
are you bringing along?
Yeah.
Like are you bringing someone along that you've got to kind of these are the standards that like your family. Because I wouldn't want to necessarily cruise with my parents because their standards. And not that I'm doing crazy stuff on a cruise, but
No.
I don't want them looking over my shoulders. You know, obviously Jason's dealt with that, but.
Literally.
Maybe his parents. Maybe his parents are exactly like my parents. I wouldn't want them. You know, I think you can echo that for sure. Looking over my shoulder all the time, doing various things, it'd be kind of awkward. I certainly couldn't relax totally.
Well, and the family that came along with us, the family of listeners, they brought 8 of them, and they all seem very close and comfortable and hang out with each other.
They've got 3 generations.
Yeah, they do. They got grandmothers and younger boys and a married couple and then an older married couple, and they seem really comfortable. So I think the question is, can you relax around these people?
I think that you have the option to, whether you feel it or not, because everybody can do what they want to do.
Right.
You don't have to do everything collectively.
Yeah. And I think more so than any other line, I see a lot of
Trivia.
family reunions.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
I would say one thing that I've noticed with traveling with family is it's hard to communicate. Like, I know we've lost each other a couple times and, try to find each other. I would say we've said if we come back again with more family members, we would like bring walkie-talkies
I've
or
seen
something.
I've
We've seen people with the
groups with
walkie-talkies.
I thought that was a good idea.
That's kind of been a struggle is, you say, oh, we'll meet on deck 5,
Yeah.
but deck 5 is huge and we're on deck 5 and
That's a big thing for first-time cruisers too, because they don't realize just how. I mean, the ships are pretty big.
Right.
You're spaced out. Even just 2 people can get like I don't know where Kaylee is.
Yeah,
half the
sometimes
time.
we do laps looking for each other.
Right.
But a lot of people have dry erase boards on their door or things like that in order to try to hook up later on. But
And some of the ships now are coming out with their own apps. So you can text, you can call on their
Yeah, using your own device, which is
Right,
awesome.
which is pretty nice.
that would be really nice.
So I think you'll see more and more of that.
yeah. Is there anybody, Kristen and Corey, as first-time cruisers that you would recommend to not cruise?
If people have a hard time relaxing, like if you're not a person that likes to sit for a period of time and maybe just like stare out at the ocean, like if you can't just relax,
If you can't handle having nothing to do, I mean, even I'm not saying there's not a lot to do. There's plenty to do, but you may not be interested in all of it or half of it.
So you think like just to get to decompress for a half hour.
Right.
right?
And if you can't handle not knowing what to do next or not having a plan, because of all the options, it can be overwhelming. And if you can't handle that, I would say it might not be the best for you. Or if you're feeling comfortable with a party atmosphere, not that it's a booze cruise like y'all were saying, but there's definitely a party atmosphere. I know some people aren't very comfortable with that. So.
And I know different lines handle that differently. You guys have been on a lot of lines. Which line would you say is the least party atmosphere?
All America. Well, I mean, I say that because, again, it's not a stereotype, but and it's the demographic of the age. But they're kind of bringing that back in a more family-friendly fashion with Dancing with the Stars, and it's awesome. So, yeah.
I would say too, someone else that wouldn't want to come on board is if you can't be disconnected from computers.
Yeah.
You're constantly looking at cell phones. You have to know what's going on with people around you.
You have internet on board, but it's considerably slower.
Yeah. So if you can't give that up for a limited amount of time, then you're going to be in trouble. You're going to go crazy.
I think if you're a dieter or watching your weight, there's specific lines that I would definitely, because celebrity tends to handle a couple of things.
Like everyone.
Yeah, it's going to be hard no matter which cruise line you pick if you're a dieter or you want to be dieting during the cruise.
Although we did see the salad part of that.
Yeah.
I guess if you just
Well,
go
we
there.
met a guy.
That's the
on-
first time I noticed that solid bar too. That's the 6th day of the cruise, man.
So apparently, if you're a dieter, you cannot eat until the 6th.
We're all deciding
It's
after this length of time we need to
Yeah,
do
somebody
this.
sat down next to us and had a huge plate of cheese fries, 2 cheeseburgers, and all this C-Day barbecue stuff. And someone sat down next to us and said, "This salad's just so great." And I looked at her and I was thinking, "Lady, do we look like people who eat salads?"
We had one at the brunch this morning.
We did. We had an amazing
But not
salad.
for your only
Fried
course.
chicken.
Yeah, fried chicken and
Jerk bacon.
Yeah,
It's
it
an
was
appetizer,
great.
not a main course.
But yeah, we met a guy on a celebrity cruise. He had just lost like 100 pounds through Weight Watchers, and he was counting his points as he went. But I would have trouble relaxing in that circumstance, but I know some people have to do it for health. But alcoholics might have a little bit of trouble. They do have meetings on the ships,
Yeah, they do.
but you see a lot of it every,
yeah, I wouldn't subject myself to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the cruise lines do try and help out though. Like if you have, you know, if you're diabetic, they have sugar-free desserts. You know, and if you are a vegetarian, they try and have meals that are geared to you too. So they're really trying to, you know, provide meals that suit everybody's dietary needs.
As long as you can stay away from the temptations. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you have specific
Right,
needs,
sure.
then they're pretty good about trying to meet
For allergies and that kind
and
of
work
thing
with
too.
you. Yeah.
I've got a question on that same, like, take us back a little bit to the Carnival cruise line. Darlene and Mark, who, because we've talked a lot about the misconceptions or maybe the ideas of what Carnival is, who would you think would not be well suited to a Carnival cruise after seeing it and maybe liking it a lot better than you thought you would?
Well, Mark and Darlene, they started out with like Crystal, Princess.
Right.
Sure.
They've been on some high.
But there's still
cruise
some people that
lines.
need to steer clear of Carnival.
But they're
probably.
enjoying it, yeah.
I mean, I think it's a really great question. I think it's a hard question to answer all in the same thing because, I mean,
It's a more casual line.
I think if you have a more sophisticated taste, you might be a little less apt to want to.
yeah. I mean,
this way, but
if you really enjoy the all-inclusive lines where you're not taking your card out to get a beverage or you want wine included with your meals, then okay, you know. I always go back and I think the thing I've enjoyed is since we've cruised a lot, it's refreshing to see some different layers of cruising.
diversity of
And
people.
this has just been extremely excellent.
And I think if you're looking for like the really gourmet kind of dining.
Right.
Sure.
I mean, you have it on here, you have your specialties, steakhouse, that kind of thing, but it's not going to be to that full.
Yeah. But you're not paying the price point. See, I think you
absolutely
put it
not,
in
yeah.
perspective. This
You
is
get
a
a full lot
tremendous
for a
value.
low cost on there.
Right. It's a great value.
Absolutely.
It really is. Yeah. I mean, you know, there's, let's just say, for instance, with Carnival and a lot of other lines, let's say even Royal Caribbean and NCL, you're going to have the same repetition. If it's Tuesday, we're in St. Thomas. If it's this, we're here. Whereas some of the other lines, they're going to move their ships all over the globe,
Right.
so you're not going to get that overlap. Or like what Celebrity has done, you can kind of create your own like extended voyage and never repeat a port. Maybe that's the only thing I could really pick on, to be honest.
They do some of that too at Carnival.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think that I think it's geared more toward a younger, hipper audience almost. I noticed that a lot of the music in the shows tends to be a little more current than some of the other cruise lines. The dancers feel more like showgirls in a
Yeah.
lot of instances rather than, you know, you're not going to see
It's not ballroom dancing.
ballroom or professional ballet. I know
Right.
last Royal Caribbean ship we
But a
had
lot of
some
lines are going that direction.
to the younger, hipper thing.
Yeah. No one's really going to the older, boring.
No.
Well, they're trying to get that. I think a lot of them are trying to get the younger demographic.
But I think Carnival's succeeding
I
with
think
that.
so, too.
I
I
mean,
would agree.
this is the youngest demographic I've ever seen as far as adults being of a young age on this cruise.
Yeah, you know, older, later teens through early 30s is a huge, huge group on here.
Yeah.
And I think that's the age group that all the cruise lines are really
Want.
hoping to capture.
Yeah.
But do they?
Yeah.
They're trying to, but I'm not sure they do it nearly as well as Carnival.
I mean,
does.
Carnival calls their ships the fun ships, and that's exactly what you get.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's
Maybe
fun.
fun,
Yeah.
Is there anything you guys could fault Carnival with? Do you want something a little more refined, or are you happy with this?
No, I'm happy with this, absolutely.
I'm happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
For the price that you pay, I think you get way over
Yeah.
what you would expect.
One thing we obviously like to do on the show is talk about travel and how cruise helps you travel to places you haven't been. And this is to Kristen and Corey. Do you feel like in this cruise you've been able to go places like that you've never been before? How's it like in large? Like maybe you go to places you wouldn't have gone otherwise. How have you seen that dynamic work?
Well, I've never been out of the country before, so this was my first time to ever go to a different country, and being able to see Cozumel and Jamaica and, you know, the way people live there, you know, it's been amazing to me. I was really excited to be able to go out of the country but still have my room on the ship, you know, still have that safety in the evening of, you know, yeah, we're gonna go spend the day, but when we are finished with the day, it's back to something that I'm comfortable with. And I think that's been a great opportunity that you get with cruising that you wouldn't get if you just, you know, went to some of these different countries for a vacation.
Yeah, I've been to Canada. That's about it. So, yeah, it was eye-opening, and to see these other countries and to see how these people live, and it puts a lot of things in perspective, and you know, it made me appreciate the people that at the places we went, the staff there. I don't know. It was they ceased to be just people helping and people working, you know, to feed us and give us drinks, and they were, you know, being in their country. It kind of, I don't know. It made me more appreciative, you know.
And I have to say, that's one thing with cruising. You know, you get on the ship, you unpack once, and you go to sleep at night, and you wake up, and you can be in a whole other country the next day. You know where you're coming back to, like they said, the food. You know that's coming back. That's a solid. You don't have to worry about eating something strange in a foreign country and not having to, you know, wonder if it's going to agree with you or not. But the packing and not having to pack and unpack every time you go to another country is so nice on a cruise.
And even though the air conditioning might not be as cold as you want, there's still air conditioning.
True.
Mm-hmm. Well, do we have any like last minute thoughts? Anybody want to speak up and say anything?
It's just been a joy to be together with all of you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great to meet you guys.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Let's do it again sometime.
And we have gotten hooked on your trivia bags, so.
Indeed.
Now we know. For a while we wondered why, and now we know why. We've learned that on our own and enjoyed being with you on that, so.
Well, and I think high marks to you, James and Kaylee, just for your enthusiasm about cruising, because we feel so passionate about travel. And you guys do a wonderful job of, you know, getting other people, you know, enthralled with that opportunity to cruise and your excitement about it. You know. So congrats to you guys, and congratulations on your 100th episode.
That was a long time coming, man.
It has been a long time.
I consider doing different things, how many different places we've recorded this show.
Yeah.
We've recorded it. There's, I think it was like 7 states.
Yeah.
Colorado, California,
Yep.
Louisiana, Alabama,
Florida.
On cruises before.
North Dakota.
Europe. I mean, we've been places.
Yeah.
Nationwide.
Well, and we started it because we did have such a passion for cruising, and we weren't hearing a whole lot out there about, you know, you get a lot of the company line in cruising, and you don't have a lot of people out there saying what they really think. And I think that with our show and with Jason's show and his, you know, page and his videos and everything, you get really a complete perspective, I think, of the cruise industry. So it feels like we're doing our little part. It's fun.
It is.
It is.
It's wanting to share something you're so passionate about and enjoy so much with others.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. So, yeah.
Definitely. And we want to just keep allaying people's fears about cruising and help them to dip their toe in the water like Kristen and Corey did, and hopefully they'll get hooked. We'll drag them all over the world with us at some point. But it's been a great cruise, and we got a whole nother sea day to go, so it's going to be fun. Lots more trivia.
That's for sure.
Team Cruise Cast. Go
Yes,
team.
Team Cruise Cast. We want to thank everyone for listening. We hope that you'll have a great week. Tune into our Facebook page. We're going to post some pictures from this Cruise Cast cruise. I know Jason's going to have a whole video stuff from this cruise.
Indeed. Yeah, keep an eye out on popularcruising.com.